Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Come on in. Glad you're here. Good afternoon, Brother Cedric. Anybody else coming on in? Come on in. Uh, Want to talk to us for a few minutes? I know we're at a different time. I know this might be a problem for people who are my morning folk, but this is D-Men intensive second week, and I have to get it in where I fit in. And so hopefully you all will come on in and definitely begin to share whenever you get here. Share so that others may be able to be blessed by what blesses you. And I am grateful for your presence, grateful that you are here, grateful that you keep on coming back, and grateful that Be Encouraged Ministries is a blessing to you. Hello, my sister. We miss you so much this week. Anyway, I guess that shouldn't be on my broadcast, but it's okay. Um, so today we're going to talk about grace. In our studies, we've been focusing on grace, and one of the things that it struck me is that we give grace to everyone sometimes, but ourselves. For many of us, we are harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else. Hey, Reverend Rochelle, and because we are harder on ourselves than we are on others, we tend to not give ourselves grace. And that doesn't mean that we let ourselves off the hook for everything. Hey, sunshine, that we let ourselves off the hook for every little thing. But it means that just as you can understand where someone else is coming from, the situation that they find themselves in, you've got to be able to give yourself what you give others. For many of us, because we are driven, because we are doing everything that we feel we have to do to get that done, to get it in, to do the things that are expected of us, and then the things we expect of ourselves. When we fall short of that, we find ourselves sometimes lacking grace for us. Hi, Sister Benson. Good to have you here. And so when we lack grace for us, then we function in in a chaotic state, because now we're doing for others, doing our jobs, doing the things that we're expected to do, but we're looking at ourselves sideways because we have not given ourselves what we gladly give to others. So uh, Romans 8:1 comes on the other side of a Paul's conversation about when he would do good, evil is always present. And we know that rewind because many of us do it all the time. I knew I wanted to do this. I should have done this, but I did this. And I know God's not pleased. I know I'm not pleased. I'm going to disappoint someone. So we go through this whole rewind, this constant telling ourselves that we're not good enough sometimes, or that we've fallen short, even when it's something that we could forgive ourselves for. But we do that, and then we get stuck right there. We get stuck in when I would do good, evil's present. When I want to do, I don't do what I do. I don't want to do, and we sit in the sackcloth and ashes of our lives. And what happens is we fail to get to Romans 8:1, and Romans 8:1 simply says, "There is therefore now no condemnation for them who are believers, who are called after the Spirit." And if you are a person who is a person of faith, then when you put yourself in those sackcloth and ashes and you keep rewinding and keep telling yourself that same lie over and over again, what you do is you say that there is condemnation, and therefore the Bible's wrong, and therefore there's no redemption for me in that space. And what I'm coming to share with you on today is that there is therefore now no condemnation. You don't get to condemn you because God doesn't. So you've got to give yourself grace. Grace is such a marvelous thing, because it can't be earned. No one can earn grace. We give grace because grace has been given to us. So if grace has been given to us, grace upon grace, grace upon grace. If we've received that, and that's in John 1:16, that if we've been given grace upon grace, then we need to exhibit grace upon grace, not only to others, but to ourselves. So I know some of you started the year and things you said you were going to do. Haven't done them yet. I'm a witness. School has put me off from what I was trying to do at the beginning of the year. I haven't lost sight of it, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm going to give myself grace. I'm going to give myself the grace to get through my 2-week intensive, and then I can shift focus. I'm going to give myself grace. Why don't you give yourself some grace too? There are things that we want to do, things we want to accomplish, goals we set at the beginning of every year. We all do it, whether we claim it or not. In the back of our minds, there's that little thing that says, you ought to do this. You got a new start. You got a new year. Do this, do this, do this. Don't do this. When we did that reflection and looking at and regrouping and then refocusing, what we refocused on was something that we decided we were going to start this year off with gangbusters. And for some of us, that just didn't happen. So give yourself some grace. See, I have the grace to start this when my mind and my spirit are connected to the process. Hey, my classmate, how are you? Good to see you here. He's my classmate from DePaul, long time ago. Don't tell anybody, Carlton. Anyway, so, but give yourself the grace to take a beat, to stop, to breathe, and to say, I did not do this on J1. And today is J11. Today is 111. And it may not get done today. But don't lose sight of that which is in front of you, so that when you are prepared, then you can do what you need to do. Many of us jump into things before we're mentally, spiritually, emotionally prepared for it. And then we find ourselves back in that place of rewinding failure because we jumped into something without giving ourselves the grace to take our time. Breathe. Take your time. Because when you get it done, oh, how marvelous it's going to be. But if you jump in and then you end up having to stop, guess what? Then you got to start over and then reflect and regroup and refocus again. You've done the work. Now be still until it's time to put it in motion. And when it's time to put it in motion, you will know. But in the meantime, grant yourself grace. I don't know who that was really for today, other than I know that it was for myself this week. But I know that there are some people who really are so driven, are so got to get it done, so about it that when they have a slowdown in their progress, they seem to feel like there's something wrong and that they're not going to be able to accomplish. Sometimes your slowdown is for you to gather yourself and be prepared for what's to come. So that when the waves come, when the storms come, and you are dealing with that, you can stay focused because you know that you gave yourself enough grace for the journey. So that when the journey gets rough, you don't throw in the towel. Grace. Grant yourself grace. Go forth today, knowing that granting yourself grace is not something that's we used to use the word don't punk out. It's not a punk out. It's not a you blew it. It's not a you're on the sidelines. Giving yourself grace says that I love myself enough to grant myself what God grants me every day. To grant myself what I grant others every day, that it's okay for me to grant myself some grace. And then fix yourself, straighten it up, get your focus in place, and go after whatever it is that you know is your purpose, your destiny, where you're headed, even if it's step by step by step. And even if you find yourself moving and in a holding pattern, give yourself some grace, because the destination is important, but the journey is where the lessons come. So give yourself grace and be encouraged. Please share this, share it with everyone you know. Everyone needs to know that they need a little grace. And the first person you got to give a little grace is you. Be encouraged. See you soon.